So what I'm going to do now is flip over to another machine that I have here in the lab. This machine here has a couple PowerShell scripts. Now I'll make these PowerShell scripts available for everyone after Master Skills. They can go in and just use them if they like. But let's just take a quick look at the two. So I have install agent.ps1 PowerShell script. I have a location of where the file is that I want to use. So I'm going to install this version of WinCollect 10. And I have a couple other machines here in my lab, perf 1501 and perf 1500, that I'm going to use. We don't have WinCollect installed on those machines here right now. Flip back over. So you can make this, a little bit better if you had a group of machines that you want to install the agent on. You can do that. In this agent update script, I have that being used. So I'll talk about that here in a minute. So I have just a simple machine here. So I just want to install one machine at a time. Basically what I'm doing below is I'm creating a new PowerShell session to that name. I'm copying over this file from this machine here on my lab as well. So it's just a normal Windows share. I'm copying it over to the Windows temp directory, and then I'm just invoking the command. So I'm going to run the msi exec.exe file or command, and I'm going to specify a few arguments. So a list here. So I'm going to do the installation. This is where the file is located, and here is the installation method. So I'm using the quick install method. The quick install method, I kind of alluded to here before, was that it's collecting the application system and security event channels on this machine, and you have to specify a destination. So that's the only two things you really need to specify when doing this. So this will get your agent up and running, collecting local events and sending to this destination. So we have that destination. We've been using that before here. So we're going to use that same destination. And then after, I just have like a wait here, and then it ends the session. So nothing too overly complex here. So if we click play, we get it set to perf 1500. I'm just using PowerShell ICE here. If we click OK. Oh, and of course I have to run it as admin. So let's try this again, run as admin. Okay. Let's open up that file. Okay, here we go. Perf 1500. And let's hit play. And let's close this one out in the background. All right, so it's going here now. There's a little wait, and it just finished. So if we go back over to perf 1500, we can see we have the IBM WinCollect directory here, and we can see there's a patch folder already created, and this agent is up and running. Basically, what is happening is that agent's being installed, and it's being told to update the basic agent. So the basic agent doesn't have much into it. It's just a clean template, but it's updating it with the instructions that I specified at the installation. So if we take a look at that agent config new, we can see here that we got the identifier set of perf 1500. It's using that destination called QRadar with the IP address, and it's collecting the 3 channels that I wanted it to collect. So we'll just flip back over to perf 1501 and install that. So we go to C program files. There's nothing there. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that just to clear it up. Okay, go back over here. I got perf 1501 set. I click run. Just give it a second to go. Now there's nothing special set up here. This is your typical Windows domain Active Directory. The credentials I'm logged in with is a domain admin user. There's nothing else fancy set up. It's just, you got your WinRM session set up, your permissions and firewall settings all configured, and you can easily do this with, with your Active Directory domain. So we have WinCollect installed here as well. So that was pretty simple, you know. There's not much to it. It's no needing of to use like SCCM, BigFix, or some other endpoint management system in order to install an agent and get it up and running. Now, if we flip over to the agent update script, so here we have a list of computers that I'm using. So I got this variable called computers, and if we go to see PowerShell scripts, what I have here, I also have a directory being used called WC agents. Now inside this WC agents, I have a list of machines, and surprise, surprise, it's just 1501 and 1500 here listed. Okay, so what it's doing is it's just calling that list. It's getting the list of the agents here below, in here below. The source again, so this source is actually what update script am I going to use. So we have some, you know, when you install WinCollect, if we go back over to this machine here, and if we go to C program files, IBM WinCollect, and go to the samples, we have some samples that we're giving everyone to use for, you know, what we think is the most common kind of changes, configuration changes that you'll be making to your agent. So these update scripts can just be applied to the patches directory. So that's all that's happening here behind the scenes. So we have this update agent secondary destination. Let's say I don't want to use that one here right now. I want to use this sysmon one. So let's use the sysmon, add sysmon. So I go back over here, add sysmon. Okay. So if we take a look into that update script, we can see that it is just adding the XPath query to the channel where the sysmon events are being written to. It's going to use the Windows event collection, and it's going to create a source or a name in the local sources called sysmon. So if we take our PowerShell script and go a little bit further here, I have this variable name called destination. It probably should be changed to something like patch directory or something like that, just to, you know, not to confuse it with the WinCollect destination. But right now, this is the destination of where this update script file is going to be dumped into. So this is your default, you know, location, WinCollect patch. Now, if you had something, you know, if it was installed somewhere else, of course, you would have to change it. Now, below is what is actually happening. So it's taking the name of the computers. It's doing a copy of that file here, this add sysmon, and placing it in the patch directory. So it's taking that list of computers. So right now, if I go back and take a look here at these the WinCollect directories for both of these agents, I just have the one patch file in here right now. If I go back and let's run this script, fingers crossed everything goes through here. Yeah, so it was pretty quick. Now if we go over to these machines, you can see right away that one just got it, and this one's got it as well. Now if we take a look into the config folder, actually let's go look in the patch folder first. So we got the agent config new, the agent config old. You can see it's actually dumped that update agent sysmon file in there. If we take a look at the old agent config, we just have our local sources with the 3 channels. If we look at the new agent config, we can see here now that we've added that sysmon. So pretty simple, pretty easy, and you can do this, you know, as many agents as you want, any remote agents that you have in your, you know, as long as this machine, that source machine where you're running the PowerShell script, has access to those agents, you can make changes to your agents, you know, on the fly without using, as I was saying, you know, BigFix or SCCM or some other endpoint manager to make those changes, right? Now let's take it a little bit step further. So we have this agent already installed over here, but say I want to use it as like a template. Like I don't like what I want to do is it's not something that's available in the samples directory. So right now I'm going to use the example of adding a secondary destination. So if we go back over here to this agent that's running. Let's go up into destinations. Now, the secondary destination is something new that we've added. It's available in WinCollect 7 as well. The secondary destination is used as a failover. So with the release of QRadar with the high availability and disaster synchronization app and stuff like that, we've added the ability to have a secondary destination set, so that if the primary goes down after 30 minutes, it will fail over to the secondary address. So I have another QRadar config here in my lab, and I'm just going to point it to use that 233.104, that IP address, and it will fail over after 1800 seconds. I think that's like 30 minutes. Now, what's also going to happen behind the scenes is that once it fails over to the secondary address, it will be checking every 5 minutes to see if that primary destination is back over or back up, and it will fail back over to that primary destination. So this, gives you a little peace of mind to make sure that, if you did have one appliance or, go down in your deployment, if you had that secondary address set up, the agent will cache up to 6 gigs of event data like it did previously in WinCollect 7. So that's still all there. But instead of having that stuff saved on disk, you can have it pushed over to your secondary address, your secondary device as a failover if you configure it. So now that we've just, all we have to do here is just put the IP or the host name of that secondary address, and then we're just going to go down here and click Save. So we have new pending changes to be applied. So we can see here that we've added that secondary set of 233.104, and we're going to apply the changes. So now that we have the changes applied, we're going to go over to that C program files, IBM, WinCollect patch directory. So the last the patch directory we just added, we can see if we take a look that here we go. We've added a new destination to the QRadar destination, and it's the secondary address being applied. Now I can take that file, and if I copy it and move it over to this WC agents directory. Now I've already done that behind the scene, and I've already added this update add secondary destination. If we take a look into that, we open it up, it's the same thing. So I have that script, and if we go over and change that to add secondary destination, and let's give that a save. Okay, so add secondary destination, just making sure I got the name right. We go back over PowerShell ICE and run that command. We can go over here and let's take a look at this patch directory, and we can see that we have a new patch directory here called the add secondary destination. So just like that, we've gone in, we've added sysmon, and we've added a secondary destination to our remote agents, all just using PowerShell.